Yeah, there's a lot of wind out here.
We have a map this time, fellas, or guys. We're going to try to go and find a location that I keep finding on a map that I can't find actually in the cemetery. We tried last week. We searched diligently through the whole place, and we were unsuccessful, so maybe today we'll be successful.
It is astounding how hard it is to find a grave in the cemetery. It's an amazing place. It's really like walking through an old art museum. Of course, there's always the the somber side of it, where there's all these people that who have lived and died, and they're buried out here. But it's like cemeteries are strange places because they're somber, but they're beautiful at the same time.
Yeah. But it's sad when they get run down like this is. But some of these families are probably no longer living here no more.
Yeah, the city maintains the cemetery, but they don't necessarily maintain it down to the finest points that it should be.
Of course, they are in the process of unearthing some of these remains out here and trying to identify them and mark them properly. So that's good. But with this COVID-19, it's kind of like put everything on hold.
Yeah, everything got bent out of shape. Ooh.
Right here on this road right here, Ash Street. There's a sexton map somewhere. There's a map that lists where people are located out here, but I'm not sure exactly where to find that at. I'm hoping that somewhere right up there around that iron gate in that area is where we're going to. Somewhere in that vicinity up there.
Yeah.
All this time we've been walking around this cemetery, I mean, we've walked from one end to the other and we couldn't find it, and then we just stumbled across it by accident. How about that?
That's usually the way it works.
You know something that's weird? This general, P.J. Phillips, was born July the 3rd of 1819. I was born July the 16th, and I'm also a Phillips. And I was also in the military. Of course, I wasn't the rank of a general, but in my own mind I was. General P.J. Phillips, born July the 3rd, or is that 1819?
That's 1819.
1819. Died October the 13th in 1876.
Yeah, that's about right.
He was a devoted husband and wife.
Or 1926.
Oh, devoted husband. Okay. Phillips and Rivers. I assume Rivers was the wife's name. How many times have we passed by this and never saw it?
We probably were looking up at that and not
Probably
looking at
so,
that.
exactly, yeah.
Down here we have Cornelia C. Borders. Devoted husband and wife. Here we have Cornelia C. Borders, born August 1824, died August 1874. Our mother. In memory of Mrs. Rhoda Osborne, who died May 17th AD 1852 in the 66th year of her age. Now this is interesting because we have come across these Phillips graves, and David's last name is Phillips. Mary Helen Shelton. Mary Helen Shelton, wife of John B. Price, November 18th, 1868 to December 13th, 1933. John Blackstone Price, born May 14th, 1862, died June 6, 1905. Ethel Lucille Price Phillips Dix, April 9th, 1898, March 5th, 1963. Ernest Woodruff Phillips, interesting, there's Woodruff.
Yep.
Born February 12th, 1885, died April 25th, 1931. So I just heard David mention this one, Baby Brady. So did they not give Baby Brady a name?
Maybe he probably died at birth, so maybe, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't have time to.
Michael Joseph Brady, April 19th, 1860 to October 20th, 1918. And over here, got a couple of Rosa Brady, 1832 to 1888. Charles Brady, 1819 to 1879. Mary Brady Wash, 1862 to 1886.
You know, supposedly, somebody out here in this cemetery, I forgot the name, I can look at my references, but he supposedly has the tallest monolith in this cemetery. And I looked at one over there that I thought was it, but no, it had Swift name on it, so it wasn't the same person. So, but I want to try to find that one too. There's two main ones I want to find. If I'm not mistaken, I think this monolith over here might be the one for the newspaper, Lamar.
Oh, okay.
Because it looks like similar to that monolith. Of course, so many of these monoliths look the same, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us, David, who is here?
This is the wife of Marabou Lamar. He's the man that founded the Columbus Ledger.
Wow.
This is his wife. Now, he's buried elsewhere. He's buried, I think, in Virginia, possibly somewhere. He's buried elsewhere, but she died and was buried here. So, but Marabou Lamar, he's the man that started the Ledger Inquirer here in Columbus.
Tabitha Jordan Lamar, wife of Marabou Lamar, daughter of Burwell and Anne Dupree Jordan, or Jordan, just depending on how
So
you
that
say it.
family's how that tied in. The Jordan family is probably how they tied in with the Ledger, and then the Swift family was tied in with the Mills, and then they bought the Ledger at one time. You know, so that's how, you know, I guess a lot, and the Woodruffs, I think, had something to do with it at one time. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I know the Woodruffs had a lot to do with the Bradley Company, too, with properties and stuff around town.
Yeah, one thing about this area is the Woodruffs, the Bradleys, Flournoys, there's several families that are known as the founding families in this area, and they are the rich ones, and you'll see their gravestones, they're gigantic. But
that's what we call old money.
Yeah.
That was the term that was used back in the day, old money. Which is, and the Martins, there's some Martins here that own, well, I think Martin Theaters, but they owned other things. And then some big bankers that lived here too, that started banking and systems back in the day. But we're standing in history right here. I mean, we're in the middle of it right here. Wow. It's amazing though.
Thomas Bryant Sauls, August 20th, 1880 to August 21st, 1937. Wow. Alfred W. McMichael, September 22nd, 1847 to December the 8th, 1934. Oh, interesting. Company A, 19th Battalion, Georgia State Guards, 1861 to 1865, CSA. Louisa D. Moore, wife of A.W. McMichael, January 17th, 1866, January 17th, 1924. A devoted wife and mother, asleep in Jesus, blessed sleep. Infant of Alva Herman and Wileen Page Chapman. Infant of Alva Herman and Wileen Page Chapman. Infants of William Eugene and Edna Almond Page. So there's more than one buried here. Margaret Burris Page, wife of Ronaldo William Page, October 13th, 1862, December 30th, 1930. O Mother, round thy hallowed name such blissful memory springs. Our hearts through all the years the same with reverent worship clings. At rest. Ronaldo W. Page, born April 17th, 1862, died November 12th, 1920. A devoted husband and father. At rest. Margaret Johnson Bartlett, May 10th, 1878, April 7th, 1957. Our mother. In memory of Levi Bartlett, 1908 to 1987, buried in Live Oaks Memorial Gardens, Charleston, South Carolina. Now that's interesting. So this person has a marker here, but is not actually buried here. Fascinating. Estelle B. Killingsworth, June 28, 1902, August 25, 1994. Mary Frances Bartlett, January 11th, 1907, January 13th, 1995. Sadie Mae Wells, born December 22nd, 1904, died July 11th, 1936.
Everything was here before we ran across, kind of like, wow.
So we were looking for this grave.
If we parked right next to it, how about that?
Let's make sure that it's not a duplicate.
No, I'm sure that's an original. Mustang Saddle.
Yep, that's the one. Our daughter, Georgia C. Musjian, wife of John H. Davis, and only child of John L. and Julia F. Musjian, born February 22nd, 1834, died March 2nd, 1859. Look at this work on the side of it.
It's real nice, ornate carvings.
Now, what was it you said, David, about the marble workers?
They during the era when they were constructing all this cemetery, they had brought some marble workers, some stone workers, masons from Italy, supposedly.
Wow.
Brought them. They actually immigrated here, and they did a lot of the carvings on this. That was what their job was. They had a job just carving headstones, and I'm sure that was a full-time job because
Oh yeah.
back in those days you had a lot of people dying in a very, very rapid pace. So it was definitely work for them for a while.
Yeah.
Until that phased out, and they come up with concrete mortar,
Right,
and,
yeah.
and so that kind of phased all that out. But I mean, if you look at the workmanship here, I mean, it's like,
Oh, it's amazing.
just imagine that was all done by hand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, and it's withstood I mean, of course, it's not going to withstand the ravages of time with the decay and the growth of algae and things on it. But the work is just, and just imagine at one time this was so polished smooth. I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
It's just
And look at the top.
very ornate. There's a bird over the mother laying there. And just look how the face, I mean, I'm sure at one time the face was all
very
very detailed and stuff, but it's just the weather has just aged it over the years.
And it was like I said in the first segment of the show that this is, you know, it's a cemetery. People are laid to rest here, but it's also an art museum because, like David was just saying, so much of the stuff was carved by hands, hammer and chisel, you know, and it's amazing the workmanship and the kind of monuments they don't make anymore. They come out with concrete, and you know, nowadays it's just a slab with a name and a date on it.
Or a machine that carves it out.
Yeah. And like This was done the hard way. Long way around.
Wow.
Sacred to the memory of John L. Berenser, who was born in Cabarrus County, North Carolina, April 2nd, 1804, and died at Atlanta, Georgia, October 19th, 1854. And look, there's a name, Kinney. Is that the artist who carved it?
I think so. I think somewhere I read where a lot of them did put their names on it.
That's interesting.
I think I read that somewhere, that a lot of the artists would sign their names to it.
Yeah.
In some kind of way. I mean, it might have been like a trademark, something that they
Right.
did, but something to distinguish their mark from somebody else's. So.
Which is really interesting, because assuming that this marker was carved out in 1854, you have the signature of, like, what was Kenny's life like? Where's Kenny buried? Because you know, by now he's long dead. So that's interesting. That's a story in itself.
Exactly. Just a stonemason's life. You know, what it was like to have been a stonemason
yeah.
at that time. To imagine the workload they had to have had. I mean, it was probably sun up to sundown, and probably sometimes round the clock to get. Especially if somebody very influential in the community died, they probably put more than one person working on something so they could get it, you know, done in time. So I'm sure it was just tedious work.
Oh yeah.
And it had to be. Look at the time of the year it was. I mean, if it was summer or winter, you're freezing or you're burning up.
Mm-hmm. And like you've heard Robert say on numerous sidestep adventures, cedars, a sign of everlasting life, are, you know, planted at cemeteries. And this one, like David just pointed out, aside from the fact that it's got numerous woodpecker holes in it, is very old. Look how big this thing is. David E. Peace, born in Tobbleton, Georgia, June 12, 1845. And back in those days, Tobbleton, Georgia, if you go back and look at some of my earlier videos, we went to Tobbleton, Georgia. There was a lot of rich people there in those days. So this guy, David Peace, was born in Tobbleton in 1843 and died in Richmond, Virginia, July 20th, 1862. I'm guessing probably in the war.
Probably so. Yeah, in Richmond, yeah.
A member of the, of the City Light Guard, Company A, 2nd Battalion.
Because he's got to be German, but it says born in Germany.
And his name, if you'll, friends and neighbors, if you'll excuse a little levity, David just said he was born in Germany. His name is Klink.
See if there's a Hogan anywhere nearby.
Our dear uncle, Chaz A. Klink, born in Germany, August 2nd, 1827, died in Columbus, Georgia, May 22nd, 1889. Emma E. Lips, October 30th, 1852, February 15th, 1920. Pauline C. Brooks, born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, July 27th, 1855, died in Columbus, Georgia, January 25th, 1910. And F. B. Brooks, August 14th, 1855, December the 14th, 1917. Mary O. Chalmers, entered into rest October 14th, 1898. I don't think too much about death, like my own death. And when I'm at a cemetery, I don't think too much about death. I think about the people's lives, what they did, who they were, where they lived, what they enjoyed. And when I die, because we all know, you know, the day's coming, we all have a grave out there in the future somewhere. Once the initial shock is worn off from my passing, I would like to hope that loved ones come to my grave to reminisce, and I hope they cut up and enjoy each other's company, because, you know, death is a talent we all share, But what really should be celebrated is the life of the people. People we don't know, people of all ethnicities. They were all people, everybody's people, and everybody had lives, everybody had hopes and dreams. It's a fairly unusual one. Start with Molly over here. Molly Thomason, March 30th, 1897 to July 18th, 1965, excuse me. In loving memory, Stella Mae Thomason Cato, February 2nd, 1914 to August 24th, 1941. Jesse L. Thompson, 1920 to January 26th, 1945. Jerry Dell Sabers, June 30th, 52 to July 3rd, 52. Wow. Josephine Thompson, March 24th, 1920, August 1st, 1963. Wilman Carlton Sebers, December 13th, 1916, March 24th, 1977. Valerie Thomason Sebers, June 3rd, 1916, November the 4th, 1987. Janice Yvonne Baxter, daughter of Carlton and Valerie Sebers, September the 1st, 1947, April the 1st, 2017. Alright, let's see if I can do this grave any justice at all. Maybe you can look up the name. In loving memory of our sister.
Maddie J. Helms.
Yeah, Maddie J. Helms died May 21st, 1906. 62 years old. Maddie Sizemore died 1897, 4 or 1.
Yeah. So there must be two of them buried here. One,
Yeah.
One next to the other, probably.
Hey, if anybody finds out anything about these ladies, drop it in the comments. It'll be interesting to see. Philip. What does that say?
I don't know. G-A? It's not an H. Maybe it's a U?
Oh no, look, it's got little two accent marks above it.
Yeah, maybe it's a German name, obviously. Gut.
Okay, if anybody knows how to pronounce that, drop it in the comments.
Gutinger.
Philip Springer. Francis Joseph Springer. Emily Guttinger Springer. Cap or Cape? I guess it's Captain P. Guttinger. Company F. 17. Regiment Georgia Volunteers. Received a mortal wound September 19th at the Battle of Chickamauga.
Oh, wow.
Chickamauga is a pretty cool place to check out if you ever get a chance to go there. Chickamauga, Georgia. Ida, wife of A.J. Day, born December 21st, 1866, died March 9th, 1900. S.T. Roper, born June 19th, 1840, died May 29th, 1913. That whole little plot looks like it's giving away. In loving memory of little Ralph, son of Frank B. and Alice Boyce, born February 21st, 1903, died June 8th, 1906. He shall gather the lambs with his arm and carry them in his bosom.
Woolfolk. I can't pronounce.
Woolfolk.
Yeah, Woolfolk.
As I understand it, the Woolfolks were a pretty wealthy family around here. Emily Meigs Woolfolk, April 6, 1854, March 4th, 1920. William E. Woolfolk, March 29th, 1849, October 3rd, 1919. Josie Wilkins Woolfolk, wife of Joseph Washington Woolfolk, born October 11th, 1859, died May 18th, 1917. And Joseph Washington Woolfolk, born July 15th, 1853, died October 31st, 1915. Here's a family I'm not familiar with, Red.
Here lies the last of a family, Martin Jake Kendrick, or Martin J. Kendrick. So I guess he was the last one with that family name, I guess. Maybe he had all daughters, and so when they married off, the family name was lost, because it says here lies the last of the family.
Wow.
So he was the patriarch.
Martin J. Kendrick, born July 12th, 1829, died March 9th, 1851, aged 21 years, 7 months,
days.
27 days.
Wow.
Few had brighter hopes. Few have lost them sooner, and few have known less sorrow. For circumstances and age rendered him a stranger to grief, yet this is the portion he has left for his friends, who weep over his grave. Loved but lost, thou art gone, Martin, yet not forgotten.
But a very nice epitaph.
William Andrew Weems, November 23rd, 1858, December 12th, 1921. Sad is our home without you. Narcissa F., wife of Theophilus Sapp, born March 30th, 1813, died May 23rd, 1862. (1775). Sacred to the memory of George Wells Foster, born in Virginia, June something 1751, died May 31st, 1817.